Hi, and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to show you how to install COBB's intake pipe for the Subaru WRX 2022 and 2023 model years. And this will be the second part of my video of me upgrading to the Stage 2 performance package. So without further ado, let us begin. So we'll first need to begin by taking up the bottom splash guard. So we'll need to jack the car up. On the passenger side, we got our first jack point here, where we'll place our first stand. Right at this pinch weld section. And similarly for the driver's side, we got it right here. Now with our car safely lifted up, we can begin to remove the bottom splash shield by removing several different bolts and body panel clips. To remove the body panel clips, you can either use a dedicated tool to remove them, or just a simple flathead screwdriver like I'm using here. And you also need, for the bolts, both a 10mm and a 12mm socket. In my case, I'll be using an impact gun, but you can also use just a simple socket wrench as well. Looking under the bottom of the car, we'll begin by removing 5 clips. 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th one there. Along with this bolt here, and this bolt here, using our 12mm. So we'll do that and we'll be right back. Next, we're going to remove 3 more body panel clips. First one is going to be this one right here. There's also one near the bottom of the wheel well down here. And third one, I'll show you by our hook. Can't see it too well. There we go. This one right here. So remove those 3 and then repeat the same thing for the other side. And we'll be right back. Alright, with our clips removed like so. One's gone. Then we just gotta remove 4 more, and this whole shield should just drop out. And the ones we gotta remove now are gonna be located here. The first one, second, third, and our 4th right there. I can just zoom in for you. There we go. That's our 4th one. So let's pop this out and we should be good to go. Okay. And I think we are good to go. Well, this is one more all the way to over here. So we'll take that one out. There we go. Lastly, to get better access to our intake pipe, we're just going to remove 2 more clips. You're going to have to remove this one, and we're going to have to remove this bolt here. You can use a 10mm socket. With those last clips out of the way, along with the bolt, we should not just be able to grab this and set it aside like so. And now we have direct access to our intake pipe. From the bottom to the top. In order to remove our OEM intake pipe, we'll first have to remove this bolt here using a 12mm socket. That way we'll take off this entire bracket, which we're not going to need anymore. Along with our flathead screwdriver or a 7mm socket. Undo this clamp that connects to the turbo from the bottom side of the intake pipe. And over the top, which I'll show you right now, we'll remove this clamp as well from the intake pipe, and using again either a flathead or a 7mm. Alrighty, with all our clamps loosened and the bracket disconnected, we should just be able to pull out the hose from the top, like so, and from the bottom. And the whole assembly should come off. Just probably to loosen this a bit more. Let me see. Alrighty, finally took out the bottom side. Had to use both hands and a lot of strength, so just be warned. It might take a while. But after that, you should just be able to carefully pull this entire thing out. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. With our original intake tube removed, we can now set this aside and begin the process of installing the new one. But before that, you need to prepare this first. COBB's new intake tube originally comes disassembled, so you're going to assemble it like so. Position your pipe so you get this curved portion on the bottom side, kind of like how we have the original one. And then you have two couplers that you're going to install. You have one with a 90-degree bend and one with like a 60-degree bend or so. Install the bottom one. First lay down your tube. You can install the bottom coupler like so. Make sure the COBB side's facing towards us, towards the camera. And for the 90-degree coupler, install it so the COBB logo is facing on top and not on the bottom. In addition, COBB also provides 4 clamps total. These 3 are the same size. They're a little bit smaller than the bigger one here. So how you should assemble these is put the small one on the intake tube side for the top portion there. Put the biggest clamp up here on top, and just put the smaller ones on the other side. And similarly on here, you can use a 8mm socket or a flathead screwdriver. But right now, just give it somewhat of a loose fitting while we position our tube before we begin to tighten down. Since I had trouble installing the new pipe, what COBB recommends to make it easier is we remove this 90-degree coupler from our pipe first, install this side into our air box, and then we should be able to install from the turbo in first, and then slide our pipe into the air box coupler. So we can grab our 90-degree coupler and slide it up and install it like so. And then with using both hands, we can slide the rest of our coupler all the way in. And COBB notes that it's okay for the coupler edge here to rest on this edge. It does not have to go over it. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Here we go. This is the piece that I'm talking about. With the coupler fully in place, this just needs to rest up against the square key. Does not need to go over it. And just make sure you get a better fit all around, as much as you can. That should be good to go. And I will try to install the pipe from the bottom and go from there. Okay, and there we go. With some patience, you should be able to just insert the pipe bottom up into our coupler there first. And then this coupler on the side here should slide onto our turbo. Definitely make sure your clamps here are loose enough, else you're going to have some trouble fitting it inside. And lastly, we just got to double check the positioning of the pipe. Make sure once it's fully inserted into both couplers like so, and I'll show you in the top view in a moment, that our pipe here clears our fender body and the side as well. So yeah, make sure you got clearance there and you're not rubbing against this or metal. Now with our COBB intake pipe fully in place and positioned, we're going to start tightening down our clamps, starting down from our turbo inlet first, and then up by our air box. And here's a view of the bottom side of our intake pipe when connected to our turbo. So you can see, we'll begin by tightening down these clamps here with either a flathead or an 8mm. And similar to the top, we have a small square key, which this does not need to go over. And before I finish tightening these clamps, I do want to point out that on second thought, just to make sure that we have a really strong fit with these clamps, that you actually do use a socket wrench. And if you have an 8mm, you can connect your 8mm where the flathead screw would go. And that way you can ensure you get a nice and strong clamp, just to make sure we have no air leakage or it doesn't loosen over time. One final thing to note, when you pre-install your clamps on your top coupler here of the intake, that your tightening bolt is facing this way like so you can obviously reach it. And similar thing for the bottom. Make sure, as you can see here, it's not visible, but in this picture that I'm showing now, it is. You want to pre-install it that way, else you're going to have a tough time to install it, or tighten it rather, like I had to do here, as you can see. Alrighty, now with our new COBB intake fully installed, we can now reinstall the bottom splash guard. And in order to do that, we just got to do all the steps that we did to take it off, but in reverse. So feel free to rewatch the video backwards, essentially, and you'll get a hang of it. But I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, and we are good to go. Alrighty, and with the splash guard fully installed at the bottom, we're all done. And we have finished to successfully install COBB's new intake. Thank you for watching my video, and stay tuned for the final part where I'll be installing COBB's new charge pipe. And that'll complete my upgrade to stage 2, which I'll then tune the car accordingly, and stay tuned for that.